At last, Everton have finally won. It's taken 7 weeks to do so, and we did have a bit of a stroke of luck, but we've got the result. And in previous weeks, we were probably on the wrong end of that. But it's finally gone our way. We won this one 1-0. It was a bit of a grind, and we're able to get the result through a brilliant Maupay goal. His first on the board in Everton colours. Anyway, all the talking points from this game. I think the first half actually was better than the second half. We'll have a look at my first half notes. I think we changed the angles constantly. It was always a change in direction. You know, you were zipping from the right side of the pitch to the left side of the pitch, back to the right side of the pitch. And, you know, the back four for West Ham could never really get set. And it added a little bit of unpredictability to what we were trying to do. And you could find pockets of space if you worked hard enough. And we were able to do that a lot in the first half, a lot of crosses being put into the box. Unfortunately, end product wasn't really there, but it's a good sign. It's great intent. Defensively, we were stable, and this goes for pretty much the whole game. Tarkowski and Cody were exceptional in the centre of the park. I do think there was a little bit of vulnerability when we turned the ball over and we were caught out on the break. And that was more so seen in the second half. But I do think, to our credit, defensive recovery was exceptional in this game. I mean, to be honest, all over the pitch, the hustle was there to win the ball. Whether it was high up the pitch with the press, whether, we'd lost the ball and we had to recover to try win that ball back, we always made up the ground and always won the ball back. And we're able to go forward from there. So that was a really positive sign. Also, first half, I mean, I'm going to give 2 player of the matches because I do think they're worthy. I think ultimately anyone on the pitch, besides maybe Anthony Gordon and Begovic, even Begovic had a really good game. I think Gordon had a very down match. Damari Gray and James Tarkowski are going to be my 2 players of the match. Damari Gray was very versatile today and wasn't shying away from the big moment. He was being the outlet. He was being the link-up play, or serving as that guy who could link up the play. He owned the flank as well. A lot of times he was trying to get into that, towards that right corner flag. And then later in the first half, he was getting more central and sort of trying to get us a few more shots inside the box in more high percentage areas. So credit to him. James Tarkowski, I mean, this guy was exceptional. Had some crucial headers, especially late in the game where it looked like we were a little bit, it was going to be a little bit nervy. Tarkowski made sure of some clearances. He put in a brilliant sliding tackle in the first half that absolutely obliterated Mikel Antonio. And also that block in the second half, just the anticipation and the smarts to cover a part of the goal that Begovic, he probably would have saved the shot on goal, but Tarkowski prevented that from even getting to that point. He perfectly anticipated the shot, and it was happy days for us. And also, I think at the end of the game, what really summarizes the hardness that we've gained this season, especially from Cody and Tarkowski, when Tarkowski stood up to Skamaka after he probably laid an errant elbow on Idrissa Gana Gueye. I do think that the leadership we've been lacking for so long is finally there. And that's why we're not conceding goals. Good communication from young and old. There's a lot of passion out there. They all want to win. Last year, you could have possibly questioned the intent of some Everton players on that pitch. They weren't playing for the jumper, and they're finally doing that. We've turned over a new page. It's a new chapter, and it's been a very solid month of football. We haven't lost in quite some time. Obviously, we've missed out on a few points here and there, but the fact we've conceded 6 goals in 7 games is exceptional if you look at last year and how leaky we were back there. I do think Connor Cody, especially in the first half, there was one that looked like it could have gone into our own net. Best believe if it was Michael Keane, it is going into the back of the net. He would have pelted it in there, but Connor Cody was able to get that one clear. And even when it feels like we're going to concede one, there's always one of the leaders at the back that are facilitating and basically organising our backline structure to ensure that, we avoid any possible moments of lapse. Idrissa Gay had his first start in Everton colours for quite some time, and really demonstrated what we've been missing for a while. I do talk about leadership, and he was another guy that exuberates that, exactly that. I don't know if that's the word, but his composure on the ball to find a pass that other players probably rush themselves into. They rush into a decision, but he's happy to hold on to the ball a little bit longer, Idrissa, to find the correct pass. And he's got some IQ, a considerable amount, should I say. There are a couple times where he left the ball because he just has that, that pitch awareness to know where his teammates are. And he knows that they've got his back. So if he has to leave a ball and compromise his own touch for someone else, if it betters the team and the way we're trying to go forward, then he'll do exactly that, which is exactly what you want. You want team first players. I think ultimately in the first half, if you want to summarize it, plenty of opportunities, getting it into the box, very strong intent, but I think the problem is obviously no DCL. You don't have that focal point. Onana was probably that guy we were trying to get the ball to, and there were a couple decent crosses that never got to him because of some good West Ham defender play. But look, I do think that, at halftime, I thought that we probably need to navigate through the West Ham defense by passing rather than trying to whip it in through crosses, because it wasn't really working out for us. And that's ultimately how we got the second goal. Alex Iwobi, that forward play, just forward thinking. I think in the second half, the major difference, more pace on the ball, more direct, more intent to get shots on goal, because we obviously couldn't get any shots in the first half. Just even if you ping one at goal, you give yourself an opportunity for a goal via some luck. And a couple times Iwobi was looking to get a couple shots off, and Maupay tried to do a couple. One got blocked and one went in the back of the net, and usually that's just, sometimes it just goes like that. And it was a great finish. It was a great touch by him. Some quality we've been lacking for so long, especially this season where we've been struggling to get goals on the board. But Demarai Gray passed into the space where Iwobi was running into, and he pummeled the ball to Maupay. And I think the pace on the ball sort of stunned the West Ham defense. It moved like a flash, the ball. And ultimately it's in the back of the net, and I think that's where the improvement was. The problem is sometimes we have a window of opportunity and we don't choose to gamble. Sometimes there'll be a lob pass that we can go for that'll set someone through on goal. I think in the second half, especially in the latter portion where West Ham were throwing all their chips forward and we had a couple opportunities to break away and potentially get shots on goal. It's sort of that mantra I'm talking about where you should just have a ping and you give yourself an opportunity. Doucouré sometimes turned his back on open space to run into, to pass it across the park, and he turned it over. So I think that's the major difference this year and last year. We had players running around that would make that decision instead of the forward-thinking option that Iwobi did. Obviously, he's transformed his game, and he was a completely different player some moons ago, but yeah, I think that's probably one of the major differences. I think another player that needs to get some plaudits, if that makes sense, I think that's the word, Nathan Patterson. I do think he's a bit of a mixed bag. He was exceptional. He really likes to keep lower towards the ground so he can keep his balance at times. Obviously not the most huge in stature, but if he's able to cover more ground, get closer to the ground, he won't be able to get moved. And especially in the first half, I think we saw that. He had some great recoveries. There was a crucial touch on a potential corner shot in the second half that, was vital. Ultimately, we won a goal kick out of it because the ball was inching towards out of play and Cornet was a bit over-ambitious to get that, and it was probably low percentage in the end. But look, sometimes he can let his pace get ahead of himself. Sometimes he runs himself into trouble and then has to get back because he's out of position, and it potentially compromises. Because oppositions do like to target that side of the park, because I think Mikolenko has every defender he plays on lockdown. So Patterson's probably the guy that oppositions look to exploit, and they usually play down that side a little bit more. But still, he had an excellent game. And look, I can't argue with the performances of a player who is ultimately getting his first season of Premier League action and also in the starting lineup. So he's really living up to the hype. Obviously, a player that we were seeking, and he's delivering at the moment, which is a really positive sign for someone of only 20 years of age. Second half, though, I do think that the problem is, once again, you're up 1-0, you see the lead, we should just be going for a second, doing exactly what got us the first goal and having that forward thinking. Unfortunately, we sort of faltered a little bit under the second half press that West Ham were applying, and got us in trouble a few times. And obviously West Ham did have a shot that ricocheted off the post, and we could be considered lucky to have not let one in the back of the net. But it's just those really nervy moments. I hate it. And there were a couple times where it was bobbling about from corners and stuff. I think we overall dealt with the corners really well, but we've got to stop playing on the back foot and stop playing conservative, because as much as playing offensively may, create a few holes at the back, I do think we need to stop thinking we can hold on to the game, because sometimes I don't feel like we have the personnel for that, and I really thought we were going to concede at the end there because we were on the back foot. But a 1-goal lead is never safe, and especially with Everton. So credit to us for holding on and keeping a clean sheet for the second consecutive week. It's unheard of. It's unfamiliar territory, but it is much welcomed. Anyway, that's going to be it from me. We have an international break, and I do believe Southampton is after the break. So DCL should return. We finally will have a proper striker. I'm not saying Maupay isn't, because he obviously was the recipient of the goal today and ultimately gave us the win with that finish on goal. So, I'm pretty excited for that. It's blue skies at the moment as an Everton supporter, and it's really odd saying that. But yeah, let's hope that the only way we go is up from here. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you in the next Everton match recap. Peace out.